Thank you for that very inspiring opening. I'm afraid I won't be able to live up to that kind of standard, but it was really moving to hear you and to hear, of course, Lataji. And it's quite an auspicious day that we speak at this. Therefore, the challenge really for me this morning is how to communicate without seeming to be businesslike or petty, or certainly not to rise to the level at which you have set the tone. But to the extent I can, I'll stick to the knitting, which is the subject, and wherever I can rise above, I will. There is a technical issue. The presentation will be behind me. I do have a PPT. That's only to help me not to forget. So, do you want me to stand on the side, or you can see? Because some of it you may not be able to see. I don't know what you would like to do. So, once, yeah, I can stand on the side. But this may cover. The next slide may not be visible. The next part. Anyway, let's try. No, not that. Audience, which is why I say it's an auspicious day, which is hearing about the name change of our company. We used to be till 31st of July Titan Industries Limited. Just changed the name to Titan Company Limited. And you're the first audience, so therefore there's a responsibility for me to tell you why we changed the name of the company. But I'll come to that in a minute. I'll share with you the name change was only incidental. What changed really, we completed 25 years, this is our 26th year, and we revisited. When you start a company, well, it's not really you start with a vision, but you certainly start with a purpose. And in those days, you don't have the time or the desire, or I don't know the process to write down the vision statement. But certainly, like Anil said, in our early days, the founder literally of our company, Xerxes Desai, inspiring, visionary leader, and he set the company on a certain purpose, which was a lot to do with what you did say, but to bring India pride. The story that I'm going to talk about is Beaming Innovation is really about. So the reason why we changed the name of the company was what should inspire us for the next 25 years has been one challenge. So I'm just going to articulate to show you our vision that's going to inspire us. Maybe on the next slide, please. Okay, before that, just to give you the first 25 years, this, you don't have to know the elements of this. I just want to tell you, a journalist a couple of years back called us a restless company. Now, the markers here are not to tell you about our successes or failures. It is just to tell you that we have dabbled in so many things over the last 25 years. Some succeeded. According to us, 4 out of 10 have failed, 6 out of 10 have succeeded. Thankfully, it is more that has succeeded than that has failed. But just to give you a quick update, we are in 3 verticals. We are perhaps the only company in the Tata Group which, first of all, is the longest living joint venture, because we are a joint venture with the government. So, very few companies are into 4 different industries. They may be into many segments. So we are in watches, jewelry, eyewear, and the precision engineering business. So B2B. But be that as it may, 3 or 4 failures in this. We started in 85, and in 2013 we have become this 4 industry business, 4 industry company. Our failures, if I were to just mark them, which didn't which didn't last. See, failure is not about failing. Failure is not about is about not being able to sustain. Not being able to sustain. We had a JV with Timex, which didn't last beyond 5 years. We went to Europe. We lost very badly. We just gave up going to Europe. It brought a lot of pride to India and Indians, but we didn't succeed. We lost badly, we lost money, and we had to pull out of Europe. Jewelry business, first 7 years was almost a write-off. In 2001, 2002, Mr. Ratan Tata was still chairman. We were given 1 year. If you don't turn this business around in 1 year, 7 years after we had launched, we were told, sorry, we may have to call it a day. 7 years it took us, and then 1 year. Somehow, I think I want to talk about it a little later. The others, Gold Plus, Comsi, Comsa, it's not such a big business for us. It's a mass market jewelry business of ours. It's a brand which is not visible in the north. It's mostly in the south. So I'm not talking about successes. I think what I want to say really is every institution, certainly a business institution, gets tempered. You know, in forging, in engineering, you cannot easily create a strong material without it not yielding. So you need failures, you need challenges to become really strong. And we know that our failure in Europe and our initial struggle in the jewelry business has made us much stronger over the years. And it's only the watch business which has seen success from day one up to whatever, 26 years. All the other businesses have seen significant challenges. And it's only when you are not in success mode that you begin to search and look for innovation, you look for always all kinds of things to do which will change either the business model or change the way you look at it. Next slide, please. Next slide. Well, this is the last slide about our company, the rest will be stories. We will be a 12,000 crore company, $2 billion end of this year. Last year we closed at 10,000 crores. We've seen some exceptional growth, and we really owe all of this to a great country called India. We have been at the right place at the right time. That's all I can say. Of course, our people, we have 10,000 people working, and they have worked hard, but I think we were born at the right time. 1987 was when we commercially launched, and what we did right, I think, was to be able to sense how India is changing. I think the endowment of more money, endowing Indians with more money, more inspiration, more aspiration, has happened because of many, many reasons. But to be able to sense where India is going, just to give you one example, from one business to many businesses and from one brand to many brands when we changed, which is Titan was our umbrella brand, very successful. The temptation always to extend that asset to another business, to another segment is very high. And this is, as students, I want you to remember that to fight that temptation, we need courage. When we went to the mass market of the watch business, the easiest decision was to say, let's make cheaper Titan watches. When we went to the youth segment, it was easier for us to say, okay, let us make the brand more youthful and we can create a sub-brand. We chose not to, because we knew India was very different. So the birth of a brand called Sonata, or a brand called Fast Track, or a brand called Raga, and a brand called Tanishq, all of them serving certain very sharply defined needs. It is the story of changing India. We discovered it, but it was already there. That's all I want to say. So when we thank this country, the segments that are emerging as opportunities are big, and all we did right was to be able to sense that at the right time. These have become now very big brands in the country and profitable, etc. etc. Next slide, please. So this is the vision I want to share with you, which is not about creating, how we can make money or what. It's not about market share. It's to read it out. We create elevating experiences for the people we touch and significantly impact the world we work in. It is not a statement which has been generated from the top in this company. We co-created this with our people. And I just want to say two things. One is, the people we touch are not merely our customers, because they finally buy our product. Those are the easiest stakeholders to create elevating experiences for. But the people we touch are our employees, our business associates, the community in which we work, and including the regulatory bodies. So, creating elevating experiences is what we are all about. So even today, from day one, like you said, when we went to Hosur to build a factory, we chose not today's practice is bring competence from industry, which means you go and if you're in the telecom business, you go and hire from the competitor and create a business. We chose not to do that. We went into the villages of Tamil Nadu, hired youngsters at 18, taught them watchmaking because we felt that was the right thing to do, because we were given backward area benefits, and backward area benefits doesn't mean only benefiting economically, but you have to benefit the community around. Even today, those large numbers of employees are not just employees, we have changed the lives of a whole lot of families in and around Hosur. We continue to do that today. We employ 1,000 people in Uttarakhand. We have 5 factories. We go to the hills of Uttarakhand, recruit young girls, teach them jewelry making and watchmaking, so that the reason why we are in Uttarakhand is obviously economic. But the way we operate in those areas is by creating elevating experience and significantly impacting. Therefore, I didn't want to talk about elevating experience because I can show you a lot of brand ads and you'll feel, oh, these are great brands and so on. But the point about our vision is about the people we touch. The significant impact, which is what innovation is all about. Industry sectors we enter, our strategy is to change the shape of the industry, not merely the size of the industry. What I mean by shape is, you will notice, and today it might be a revelation to you, but those students of management might be aware, we don't get into any sector which is mature. We get into only industry sectors where there are two of the three U's, which is it has to be underpenetrated, unorganized, or underserved. Because there are many sectors in India where customers or people have got exploited because of many reasons. The jewelry industry stands in front of us today. The turmoil that the country is going through, which is the CAD, I don't know if you're aware, current account deficit, because of which the finance minister has come down heavily on import of gold, is because of sharp industry practice of taking advantage of certain things that are available to the jewelry industry. It is a highly unorganized, fragmented industry. One of the largest next to food, and full of cheating of customer, no paying of taxes to government, income tax, excise duty doesn't even exist, which is why government had to enforce customs duty, because of which now gold is getting smuggled into this country. So it is we deal with an industry which is like that. If you look at watches many years ago, 25 years ago, it was full of smuggling, and we have to fight those. Even today, there's a large unorganized sector, eyewear, unorganized. So we enter only those. So significant impact when we say it is about influencing, not about market share. It is about influencing, and when you influence, you have, and when you positive influence, which is like the Tata way, then you have the moral right to change the rules of the industry, not merely to make money. So we have changed the rules of all these sectors that we are in. Next slide, please. Obviously, a vision statement has to have a mission statement. I just want to take one word at that, which is innovation. So innovation is a part of our mission, which is how do we achieve, deliver elevating experiences and significant impact. One of the elements is innovation, apart from a pioneering spirit, which is we will do this through a pioneering spirit and a caring, value-driven culture that fosters innovation, drives performance, and ensures the highest global standard. Now, Anil knows, and many of you know, that the reason why you need these is, as an organization grows bigger and bigger, every corner of the organization has to live by certain values, certain goals, objectives, and what are we about is what people will ask. A new recruit in the Chandigarh store for iPlus, what should she see? Yes, does she come to work every day to earn a living? Sure she does. Beyond that, she serves her customer. How should she serve her customer? In what manner? An elevating experience makes a small difference of understanding how should I serve my customer. I'm not doing this merely because of course I want to earn money. I'm doing this because if I do a good job, the company will earn money. And what is good job? In the retail industry, if you go, they will tell you it will be about walk-in, it will be about conversion, and it will be about upsell. Just let me give you these three words, okay? Walk-in, more people walk into a store, you make more money. Conversion, 100 walk-in, if you convert 80, then you have a metric there. And then upsell. You come to buy 1,000 rupee a pair of glasses, you sell 1,100 rupees, that is the metric. Forgetting that all that is about business. The customer wants to be served because she's come to find a solution for a problem, which is eyewear or jewelry, which is investment and so on. Therefore, just educating your people about what the purpose of the company is. It's not that all of them will understand on day one, but certainly it is an important thing. It is a differentiator for your company compared to somebody else. There are many companies which Disney says it brings joy to people's lives. That's all. The girl who's managing you when you walk into Disneyland just wants to see you smile. She do everything to make you smile. Next slide, please. I just want to take two examples because this subject is about innovation, and I just want to tell you. Next 2-3 slides may sound like a little bit of yarn, but I must tell you these are not my slides. This is the Innovation Council which has created this, and they believe that the culture in the company is this, so they must be right because they actually deal with a whole lot of people, 6,000 people whom they are trying to inspire to innovate. Okay? So certainly when I read this, I said, this has happened and something is working in my company. Click please. I think this sounds like motherhood statement, but I will show you two examples just to say that we are getting there. Believing in the impossible is important, and it is not believing in the impossible at the level of the managing director. It is believing in the impossible at the level of every employee, which is important to create that culture of innovation. And I'll give you 2 examples. After that, maybe you will be convinced. Go on, please. Believe in people. Again, not for the managing director to espouse from the top saying we believe in you and then go back and say, you know, we can't give you a salary increase because, you know, economic downturn and so on and so forth. You know, you make 1,000 crore profit and then say, oops, you know, the market is giving only 9% increase. So we are a little better, so we give you 9.5. You know, this is typical. I know it has happened every time a downturn comes. That's the excuse to reduce your salary to turnover percentage, wages to turnover percentage. But this is articulated by the supervisor. That is, he has to tell the people in the shop floor, look, I believe in you. So I was telling Kumar, who was with me in the car, she was asking me, what is the difference in our company? There are 2 differences, I believe. All 4 are P's, which is, we believe in people more than in process. We are not a process-driven company, we are a people-driven company. Not that we don't have processes, but we have more people than process. And therefore, when we recruit, we look for attitude, we look for can we trust, and thereafter the vision should drive that person. Not that every day the vision drives that, you know, we trust people. Therefore, less supervision, more empowerment. We don't know whether this business model is right, but certainly we know that people enjoy their work. Okay? So less supervision, more empowerment. Less process, more people. The problem is, as you grow bigger and bigger, it becomes very difficult to ensure that every corner of the organization. See, it is at the corners where usually the virus comes into the company. It is never at the, you are sitting in headquarters and you are thinking everything is going hunky-dory, but normally it's in the corners. So believing in people has to happen at the far corners of the organization. Next, please. And of course, you cannot simply innovate by doing those 2. You have to, because a guy in the accounts department usually thinks that innovation is meant to happen in marketing, in manufacturing, in R&D, in the design studio. Me, pushing bills. Do I innovate? Then the innovation council's job is to tell every guy, look, you are capable of, and there is a process. And there is a certain competence of innovation which you can. See, our philosophy is that if 6,800 employees innovate, then you're home and dry. You know, you don't have to create an R&D function, you don't have to create an innovation council, you don't have to. Of course, you cannot do that by simply espousing the cause of innovation. You have to enable, you have to skill people. Next slide, please. And innovation blossoms when there is a culture of innovation, there is process of innovation, and there is a strategy. When you embed innovation in all 3. Next slide, please. So what we have, what I'm going to share with you is 1 and 2. A product innovation and a process innovation, and we have a governing structure for innovation. Go on, please. This is really meant for people like Ravi and all that. Classroom stuff. So I don't want to spend too much time. I want to go to the story. Of course, the culture has to be non-hierarchical, open and transparent. We should provide people freedom to fail. In fact, the Titan Award in the Tata Group has done big work in innovation. It's called TGIF, not, thank God it's Friday, it's called Tata Group Innovation Forum. And every year the award for failure, it is called Dare to Try. It's sponsored by Titan. Because of all the failures which I spoke about, the Dare to Try award is from Titan. Of course, communication, etc., etc. Let me not spend too much time on this. Next slide, please. we have several divisions, and there is a process, which is what when I said it's not merely process, it's people, but there has to be process for everything as you grow larger and larger. So there is a process in innovation itself. Today we have, in the last 3 years, we set up a separate school called Innovation School for Management, which is in our jewelry division, where we teach people innovation, structured innovation. Okay? Next. I think we'll go for next slide, please. So the governing structure is through a innovation council, whose job is to inspire and sensitize people and enable innovation. And of course, there's a management council. Next slide. I want to take one example from what Anil spoke about, and it's a coincidence that in 1993, 94, 95, when we were trying to get to Europe, we realized that the European Swiss watchmakers I don't have any qualms of saying this, they are arrogant. They are arrogant, they think nothing of Indian engineering. The Japanese, of course, had mastered engineering. They were the ones who popularized quartz in the world. So the world used to think that good watches are made only by Japanese or the Swiss. And the innovation of this product, it started without a market analysis. It started it was dreaming the impossible, as I said. The purpose was we must bring pride into Indian watchmaking and set ourselves a global standard so that the world stands up and stares and says, India, these guys make watches and they can make this watch, there must be something good. So we put a lot of money and effort only for this passion of establishing Indian engineering, giving its pride of place, because we knew that Indian engineers were capable. Next slide, please. It's only one slide. The Edge watch was born out of that passion. It is the slimmest watch in the world, even today, unchallenged for the last 17 years, unchallenged by any of the Swiss, because we've gone public saying slimmest watch in the universe. Somebody could have challenged us saying, sorry, we got a slimmer watch than this. You know how the world is. They didn't challenge everything. They haven't challenged it. The reason why I say we are proud of this is it is made for India, by Indians. Why made for India? It is water resistant, India, and it is not 500 Swiss francs. It is well within the reach of Indians. This particular watch, it's won the Red Dot Award on this design, which is the Oscar of design. Last year we got the Red Dot Award. My point is that innovation, when you position it as cost cutting, profit, etc., you get a certain kind of response. When you position it as you're doing work for the country, and you're going to position India in the eyes of the world, you get a different response. So this is one example on product innovation. We've done a lot. We've done Raga, we've done Fast Track, but I just want to showcase one product. And another one, next one please, process innovation. Just to give you, the most exploited guy in the jewelry business are at two ends. One is the customer. I can guarantee you that the plain jewelry that you buy from 9 out of 10 jewelers will be 20 carat when he says it's 22 carat. So on the one extreme, the customer is cheated and exploited. At the other extreme, it is the karigar who is exploited, very badly exploited by the jewelers. They are my competitors, but I have no qualms because they really have exploited. When you set diamonds, in jewelry. It's a karigari. Okay, it is skill, and this is done in sweatshops, in the in really holes in the wall of Bombay and Kolkata and Surat and so on. So we innovated in this process. How can we make his life easier? And I must tell you that all this has to happen virtuously. You can't do it altruistically. You understand? Altruistic means you're doing it because you want to change the world. Business has to create value, and that is an objective I have as managing director. I can't just be altruistic and say we are here to create jobs and we are here to change the world and so on. We have to create value. Next slide, please. Next slide. The conventional method of setting diamonds is by hand. Next slide, just keep clicking. Yeah. What we did was we used engineering, a technology called mold setting. Okay? Instead of doing it by hand, diamond by diamond by diamond, we are doing it through a process where skill goes out and yet you get huge amount of quality output from 100 stones to 1500 stones. Now the point there is his work has become easier. A, he is paid on the basis of output, so his pay goes up quite significantly. Our cost comes down. By virtuous, I mean it's a win-win-win always, which is customer gets a better product, the Karigar gets more money, and the company gets a lower cost product. Next slide, please. Of course, this is the first time in the industry. The process was through smart questioning, etc., and we have applied for a patent. There are many such processes. Let's go forward. Similar things have happened in jewelry like in watches. Let's go forward, please. Again, a first time in the industry. Next slide. Well, here is another innovation which we worked with the other business of the company, which is we have a B2B business, which is automation business. Sorting diamonds is done manually. Size, your eyesight after a while, it gets bad, you get tired and so on. 800 bags, 40 people on the job is what we had in the company in the early days, until we discovered from our automation division that this could be done through a machine. So this is again a huge innovation from a manufacturing perspective. Next slide. So from here, we move to that. We've gone to 2,500 bags. The 40 people have got redeployed to higher value add work instead of doing this repetitive sorting. There's a robotic, sorting of, just picks the diamond, puts it in. It's reasonably high technology, and the point is, starting from the starting point, you will feel there is no need because there are people, it is low cost labor, you can keep doing it. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to pioneer, if you want to excel, and if you want to differentiate, you have to keep questioning. Is there a better way of doing it? And this is not incremental stuff. Incremental stuff happens in companies every day, which is called continuous improvement. This is not incremental. This is simply changing the way things are done. Next slide, please. Well, again, first time, and so on. Collaborative work across divisions. Precision engineering division is a separate division in our company. So people got together and say, how can we crack this problem? Next. We have had a long history of innovation. I want to just talk about 4 or 5 things and why culturally you have to be aligned to innovation. Of course, you know that quartz watches were 1% of the market share in 1987. And just by taking a courageous step to introduce quartz watches in India, we redefined the watch industry. Next slide. The jewelry business model is completely different if you compare our business model with the rest. When we entered the jewelry business, the entire industry said Tatas can never succeed in this industry, because this industry, first of all, the gross contribution. I don't know how many of you buy our jewelry, but you take the piece of jewelry, put it on the left and you weigh it, and then say this is whatever 60 grams. Today's rate you apply on that gold, and then there's a making charge which is 20%. Gross contribution. Okay, material cost, and sell price minus material cost. From that to make 9 or 10% is the challenge. Our business model is completely.
The others can also please come up and say.
Just to briefly talk about the jewelry business model, whereas a jeweler is local, at most he is regional, we placed a bet on the Indian woman, which is Indian women, like most of you, are going to be more mobile in the future than in the past. So the concept of family jeweler, you'll be born in Patna and your family might have been buying from the local jeweler in Patna, but you'll get married to somebody in Bangalore or in Gurgaon, and therefore the concept of family jeweler collapses, because for you to go back to Patna to buy from your jeweler, therefore establishing a footprint across the country, branding the business, applying manufacturing techniques rather than craft, it's a huge change in the business model. Well, and still make money without cheating the customer. Next. I think all of you are aware of the Fast Track brand in watches. The biggest youth brand in watches worldwide is called Swatch. I suppose all of you are aware of Swatch. Is Swatch at all selling in India? Sure it is. But which sells more? Fast Track sells more. Do youth want to wear watches? They don't. The mobile phone gives them the time. Do they want Swatch? Yes. Is it a global brand? Yes. But in watches, they buy fast. I think the answer is obvious. It's an 800 crore business. We sell 4 million Fast Track watches. Swatch sells 500,000. So we took on a global brand simply by creating an alluring brand for youth. There's a long story of Fast Track. I don't want to talk. But the point is challenging the impossible. It's because people had written off. Youth market will be occupied by Swatch, you guys might as well forget it. Okay. We didn't give up on it. Next. Even our strategy process is quite innovative. We stopped being driving strategy from the top. Today we have a project called Imagine, where a whole lot of people are engaged in developing not the vision and mission that is over, the next 5 years strategy. We are involving people from all parts of the company in dreaming, imagining the future. The leadership challenge really is to understand their words and translate that into a strategy. It is because people don't really articulate in management jargon. They will say things like, sir, tell us whatever you want, we will do. Now, whatever we want, we will do. Is he saying only because he wants more money? He just thinks this company can be much bigger. In what space? It's a leadership issue about our understanding. But involving is the most important. Next bit, please. I want to talk this last bit, which is manufacturing. I told you is the most exploited in the jewelry industry. So we have created what are known as Karigar parks. If you go to a place called Sinti Mode in Kolkata, you will find that the Karigar cannot work beyond the age of 45 because it's a hellhole. He sits on the ground and creates beautiful pieces of jewelry even as he inhales toxic fumes. The toxic fumes are required because when he solders, he inhales. It's not required, but the point is, jewelry industry doesn't care. They get that retail margin, and that guy needs a job. and they don't care. So we have created, and we said we will never do this. Either we employ them in our factories or we won't buy those guys. We have created large Karigar parks where the infrastructure belongs to us. We get them into that infrastructure. They no longer sit on the ground. They no longer inhale toxic fumes. I have a video, but I don't want to share it. We have no time. Now the guys are saying, now girls from Midnapur are willing to marry us because at least we sit in an air-conditioned environment, and this craft is no longer considered because their brothers or their peers have gone to BPOs, because they're getting 10,000 rupees salary, they're in the AC office. Today, we brought respect to that industry because we felt it was right. But again, it's not altruistic in nature. We win, they win. They're making much more money today. We are getting lower cost product because we pay by gram, and per gram cost has come down, and for the customer, we are able to deliver. Next slide, please. Click. Last bit, which is all your institute is all about this. I just want to share one story. Giving and philanthropy has comes to the Tata Group very easily. We wanted to give something like 70 to 80 lakhs. We created 2 watches. One with the motif of the VT station clock. I don't know how many of you see the CST station clock and the CST station profile at the back. The other with the dome of the Taj, which was seen all over the world burning. We created 2 watches. Next slide. Next. Click, please. Okay, what we did was, we created 2,500 watches and gave it free to the city of Bombay. But we did free as in, we wanted the Mumbaiite to participate in this. The sense of pride. I wear this watch today. That is, we distributed it without advertising because we didn't want any brand mileage for this. We just put it in the stores and we told the girls, you have to tell them, if you buy this watch, 100% of the proceeds, no percentage, including material cost, will go to the Taj Trust, Public Welfare Trust, which serves the families who lost their family members in that 26/11 attack. The point is, many corporations do this, and the worst was a multinational corporation which last year, I don't want to mention the name, which came up with a television ad saying, if you buy our product, X percentage will go to build the playgrounds in Bombay. I don't know how many of you saw that. And which means if you don't buy our product, you won't build the playgrounds in Bombay. Okay. Here, it wasn't a percentage, it wasn't the profit that we shared, the entire. The point was getting the Mumbaikar to participate. We gave away 75 lakhs. The revenues that came, we gave all of it. So our contribution was the material cost, obviously. The Mumbaikar's contribution was the difference between the selling price and the material cost. And even today he wears it with. So today now we are extending this to the other cities, and we don't publicize this. The point is, and Mr. Ratan Tata said this many years ago when somebody asked him, look, all the great work that the trusts do, why don't you talk about it? He says, we do it because we don't want to talk about it. That is the point. Is it going? Is it moving forward?
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the Mumbai CST station clock motive. Next slide. And we captured the dome of the. And this was just a small poster in front of the watch, which was kept so that the person understands that he is contributing to the 26/11 victims. Next slide. That is the Taj watch with the Taj dome. Next slide. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I think I have said this. This is the last slide of my presentation. In sum, I just want to sum up. Innovation is not invention. Invention sits in engineering, invention sits in politics. Innovation is not invention. Innovation is not R&D, and innovation is not creativity. it is difficult because people think only creative people are innovative. People think only people with great knowledge or who are inventive, who are, those mad scientists in an R&D, those guys are the innovators. It doesn't. This is very difficult for a common man to understand. The guy in the accounts department, he thinks he's the least innovative guy. How to make him think that human beings want to be innovative. Human beings want to be innovative. The moment you tell them you can and I'll skill you, the guy will at least try. Next. It has to be widespread and democratized. Innovation, at least our philosophy, widespread means it has to go to every corner of the organization and it has to be democratized every level in the organization. It's a journey. There's no destination to this, but sooner or later somebody will say, yeah, I think you guys are an innovative organization. Next. Enable, encourage, involve and inspire people. That is the mantra for the Innovation Council. Next. Of course, you can't do just that. You have to educate and train them in the ways of innovation. You can't just espouse from the top and say that people have to innovate. You have to enable them. Next. Of course, you have to. I said we are a people-oriented company, not process-oriented, but you can't be only people-oriented. You have to evaluate where you are on that journey, not evaluating the people, where you are on that journey. Next. Of course, you have to establish a purpose. There are two examples, which is the Edge Watch, the purpose of establishing an Indian excellence in the global market, and the last one, which is purpose, very, very different purpose. When you give, you can write out a check, you can do it this way. We like it this way because that is what we know. We know our customers. We know what kind of customers will come and buy. So we're going to do this in Delhi. We're going to do this but not the same thing. It will be a cause which Delhiites will be very passionate about. And so if you don't hear about it, that's the best news for us. You don't want to publicize. Next. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. I think I've exceeded my time. I'm sorry about that, but thank you once again.